Hi everybody, welcome to the Inner Circle. I'm Lawrence Algie.
Mouse Ghost.
Ben Barks.
And today we're here to talk about It 2. Now, a lot of you have probably been waiting patiently and or not patiently for the sequel to last year's, not even last year, 2 years ago?
Yes.
2017?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's later than 2 years ago.
3? Maybe 3? 2016?
I'm going to put my bet on 2017.
So that's what I thought too. So
That's what I
2017, 2016's It.
Yeah.
And it was okay. It wasn't bad. I thought it was pretty cool, like, graphically. Graphically is a very nice movie. Like, just the scenes with Pennywise. Pure beauty. Story-wise,
Me.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I saw that they had Stephen King come in, like a whole Stan Lee thing, so I feel like it's trying to set up a whole... I feel like they're trying to set up a Stephen King cinematic universe, and I don't know if I'm okay with that.
Where
I'm
did-
not okay with that.
Where did it give you that impression?
Because they had him cameo as a person, like Stan Lee does.
Yeah, it was just a cameo.
So, look,
It's
I'm
not
calling it now Stephen King cinematic universe because Stephen King's getting a lot of movies made right now, and I don't know why, but he is. He's getting popular again. So I feel like they're gonna pull out a whole Stan Lee Stephen King cinematic universe. I'm calling it now. Quote me in the future. It's happening. Anyway,
Please don't quote this man.
quote this man. I am your leader.
He wishes. Well, technically, he is my boss.
Exactly.
But he's not y'all's boss.
You're fired. Anyway, overall, what were our thoughts?
Okay, it's a thumbs down. Not good. I thought since the first one was good, that second one would be good. It wasn't. Pacing was terrible. It starts off with some good character moments and some build up, and I'm like, hey, maybe this is going somewhere. I'm feeling like a good vibe from this. It feels different than the first, but that's good. They're adults. It should be kind of edgier and darker anyways because they're older. They're not kids anymore. But then the movie spends like the next hour and a half just doing terrible jump scares with bad monster designs that made people laugh and in the theater, and then it turned into a big action movie against a killer clown, and then it ended.
I feel like it needed more build up, like horror build up. I feel like that would have been good because I feel like there were a lot of jump scare moments, but there weren't a lot of build up scare moments. And build up scares are the best kind of scares. And I feel like It 1 had more build up than it did jump scares. So I don't know. I noticed there's a trend in sequel movies where the sequels typically are worse than the originals because sequels get cocky. They're like, yeah, we made this movie. It was good. You know what? Horror. And then you do like horror stereotypes. It's kind of, It 2 didn't exactly do that, but it felt like that was the route that they were like looking at when they decided what route to go with this movie. Personally speaking, because there are a lot of movies that do that. Insidious 3, all the Conjuring sequel movies, The Nun, Annabelle, all of them are like that. They're just stereotypical horror movies. And It 2 was almost a stereotypical horror movie. It had some good moments. A lot of good moments. I liked the end scene against Pennywise. I thought that was cool. But it felt almost more like a thriller than a horror. And I think that might have been its downfall.
So I already talked to Lawrence about this, but it did not, like he said, it didn't feel like horror to me. It felt like more of a drama piece, honestly, with like hints of horror in it, or thriller, really. This build up suspense and it's all for the backstory to me. They had too much backstory for me to make it feel like a drama instead of a horror.
Okay. Ratings. What would you guys give it?
I would probably, I'll thumbs down it if I'm just telling someone I know a thumbs up or thumbs down. I would tell them like, wait for Netflix, whatever, don't bother going for like the theater experience for it because it just didn't have the same tension or just horror vibes that the first had. Pennywise himself didn't even feel as scary. It was weird. He felt like a weaker enemy than he did in the first one. I think I would probably give it, out of a 10 rating, maybe like a 5 or a 6 if I'm feeling good that day.
I personally would say a 7. It's okay. Not great. It's okay. I think it's worth a watch if you like it or Stephen King or just horror in general. You can go watch it. But if those aren't your niches, probably good. Honestly.
Honestly, that's a horror. I'll give it a lower rating, but that's a thriller / like drama. Like bits of horror in it. I give it about like a 7.
Alright. Spoiler section. So if you don't want spoilers, cut the camera off. Anyway, I have to stop.
On a laptop or computer.
Whatever. Cut it off. Cut it. Shut it down. Down. Anyway, I had this thought. Dang it, you made me lose my thought. What was it? It was a specific scene that came in my head. Oh! Honestly, I don't think they should have done the whole let's grab back our old childhood memories thing. Because personally, a lot of those scenes, I feel like you could have just kept them in the first movie and it would have been okay. And that would have saved so much time. Like, I get it, they're trying to recapture their memories, that's part of the plot, but...
You know what it felt like? I honestly, that whole middle of the movie where it just, like, it feels like the story, and it's also on bad pacing, the story just grinds to a halt because it feels like they were like, alright, everyone really loved the kids in the first one, we're going to have to bring back the kids for this one because we really want people to come back to it. You know, it's like, yeah, it was just weird that it's like, oh, now we're going to start intercutting kids with the scenes with the adults over and over for the next hour and a half of the movie while each character goes off and does pretty much the same scene over and over. They go to a location, have a flashback with their child self, grab an item and leave, and it took me out of the movie, like, after the third one out of, like, the 6 people.
In terms of, like, Richie being gay, I didn't have a problem with that. My biggest problem was it felt like they shoehorned it in. Because if you watch the first movie, there's no hints of that at all. Like, because you find out at the end, like, they tease it that he had a crush on Eddie. But in the first movie, you would never guess that. Like, I thought Stan at first. I was like, okay, maybe Stan, I could see that.
Well, no, it wasn't Eddie.
It was Eddie. Because when he, at the very end where he goes to the bridge, he, like, carves the E with the R+E.
Wait, was it, no, I thought he was, wait a minute, I could have sworn he was carving the initial of the one that killed himself.
No, he carved the E. It was an E.
Oh, okay.
For Eddie. Yeah, I feel like if they had kind of made more of a hint toward that in the first movie, that would have been better. Because once you watch the movie, you realize he's been liking Eddie since pretty much the first movie.
Yeah.
But there's no hints of it at all in the first movie. That's the only problem I have with it. I feel like they didn't think exactly what they wanted to do in the second movie until they finished the first movie, and they were like, let's make the character gay. Richie. Let's make him gay. He's the one. Tim. He's it. He's the gay one.
See, even...
Gay.
Even
homosexual.
No, okay, listen. Even though it is kind of weird that it's like it wasn't even like kind of teased in the first one. They like added an extra scene with Finn Wolfhard to try and tease it in the second one here. So even though it does feel kind of forced in that respect, that if you watch the 2 movies back to back, it's that like kind of character development doesn't even happen until the second movie when he's already an adult. But in the movie itself, self-contained, it was done really well though. Like I felt like it was done well because it was like it wasn't like really shoehorned in to the plot. It was just real subtle. So I felt like it was like tastefully done though.
I will agree with that. I did like the subtlety of it. Because they didn't make it a big thing. They didn't make it like, oh my god, he's gay. And they don't even actually downright say he's gay. You just know he's gay because he writes in. They hint at it with Pennywise. And then you know he's got a thing for Eddie when he carves the letter E into the side of the bridge, and you're like, oh, okay, he had a crush on Eddie. But I mean, in terms of the second, if as a self-contained movie, yes, it's good. But as a movie, like a part 1, part 2 thing, it's bad plot-wise, just because all of this takes place literally in between 2 scenes in the first movie, and it was not in the movie. So I mean, I don't know. Like, there should have just been something. Like, you don't even really see him interact. You see him interact with Eddie a lot, but you don't see them interact a lot in the first movie. Like, the most times you see him, he's with Stan. So I could. That's why I said, personally, if he had had a crush on Stan, I feel like it would have been okay and it would have worked. Because at first, I thought Stan was gay. Because, like, when he's in the bathroom and he's dying, he's like, he thinks back to Bill, and it's like this really close up on young Bill's face as he's speaking, and there's like this extra, like, emphasis on his, like, lips and everything. And, like, as he's dying, he's like, I'm sorry, Bill. And it was very, very sad and touching, but I was like, did you have a thing for Bill?
Okay, wait. Okay, talking about Bill. Okay, so when they're adults, oh my god, I'm forgetting the girl's name. What's the girl's name?
Bev.
Bev, yeah, okay. So when they're adults, Bill and Bev, like, when they get their memories back, they have this moment where they just start, like, kissing at the hotel.
Yeah.
But it's like they just, like, have this weird, intimate, moment together. But then they just, for the rest of the movie after that, they kind of just separate again, and neither of them really mention it. And then Bev pairs off with the one that used to be the
Ben.
fat kid. Yeah, Ben. So it was real odd that like they had that intimate moment when they got their childhood memories back, and it felt like there was more explanation to that the movie just didn't put in because it was 2 hours and 40 minutes, and they decided to focus on other things that could have been trimmed, but it was odd.
In terms of the character building in the second movie, I think the original like the old one, 90s with Tim Curry, did it better with them as adults. However,
Even that was bad though. Like,
I mean, it wasn't the best, but I feel like they did do it better. Because, like, they didn't focus so much on let's go back and focus on them as kids, like they did in the second movie, which at that point it's like, well, what's the point of making 2 movies if literally the entire point of the second movie is let's look back at them as children. But the second one, in the original they did do a good job because they you're really building with these characters as they're like, they don't focus on the memories so much. They focus more on, like, their character bonding as adults. And they didn't do that so much as grown-ups. Like, the only people who really had bonding moments as grown-ups was Bev and Ben. And even then, it was like 2-3 scenes, and then it was like, oh, by the way, I've always loved you. You did? Yes. Oh my god! Ben! Bev! And then they're in love now.
And wasn't that really weird though?
Yeah.
Because I went and watched it with 3 of my other friends, and they all said in the movie we were sitting there, because theater was kind of empty, but that's not the point. We all were sitting there when they, like, started to, like, the entire movie kind of try to flirt and fall in love. We all looked at each other and was like, this is really weird that this dude has, like, only wanted this one girl his whole life, We was like, we get the romance, but it's awkward, because I'm like, wouldn't one of you be like, hey man, it's been like 27 years, can you just lay off? It's a little odd. It's weird that they were both just like, yes, okay, let's get together.
My other thing is, he forgot everybody, but he kept the thing from Bev in his wallet. So how did he truly forget Bev if literally anytime he takes out his wallet, he sees her name? Did they think that through?
Actually,
Nope.
yes. Remember in the movie, he says that he kept the one piece of paper from the one person that actually signed his yearbook.
Yes.
And he remembered that one person this whole time.
He never said that he remembered her.
Yeah.
He just said that he kept in his wallet the whole time for 27 years. He never actually said, I remembered you for 27 years. He said,
Let's go back to the movies right now.
See, no, I think
No,
if I remember this correctly, yeah, I don't think he remembered it, like how much he loved
Liz only watched
Beverly
it
and
one spot.
No, I don't think he remembered how much he loved Beverly. Like, you know, as much as it was, he remembered like the happy love, good feelings from that note he still had. I don't think he remembered her individually, like that it was her and that's why he
Yeah.
loves the note. I think he just remembered he loves the note and he couldn't remember why that, because they all forgot each other the further they went.
Okay, that makes a little more sense. I don't know. Like, how did you guys feel about the end with Stan's voiceover from the leather?
Yo, I did not care because I'm like, this dude it hasn't been in the movie. He's the guy who killed himself. Like, and in the beginning, the first half of the movie, when they were all reconnecting, and they grieved over him, it was nice there. Like, it made sense. It was good character stuff. But after everything else that happens, the entire movie, bringing his voiceover back at the very end, it didn't feel like as connected. It didn't, or at least it didn't feel like they were a connected single group the way it wanted me to feel that. So his voiceover, I just was kind of like, oh yeah, that's Stan's voice. Okay, just making sure.
It felt like It felt like that feel good movie moment. That feel good moment that some horror movies do at the end of the movie to kind of like counteract all the scary that they just put in you to kind of make you feel a little bit better. But also, it felt off to me. I don't know why it felt off to me, but it did feel off to me when I was listening to it, because I don't even remember everything. I don't even remember what he said. That's like that. I think that's proof enough that in itself that it felt like it didn't belong, because I don't remember what he said.
You know what really didn't belong?
Oh, I know why I felt off. It's because I've seen the original and I've seen all the remakes. The reason he says he kills himself is so that they could go and fight Pennywise and it would be okay. But in the original movie, he just killed himself because he was scared of it.
Yeah.
And it made it more meaningful of a death in this one, but at the same time, it felt almost out of character. Because Stan was always the one who never believed in it, and now he believes so much in what just happened. From one phone call, from the few, like, you don't even remember all of your memories when you get your memories back. So you don't even know all the magical properties of Pennywise. You probably just remember that it's a freaking terrifying monster clown. But you believe in it so much that you realize the only way for them to win is for everyone to be together. But you won't go, so you have to kill yourself. That doesn't make sense to me, because it's like, it's too much thinking with too little to think on, you know? So that doesn't, thematically speaking, it's beautiful, but speaking as a storyteller, that doesn't make a lot of plot sense. Because it counteracts your entire plot of the movie, you know what I mean?
Him being the scaredy cat and changing it to the scaredy cat being the one, who's like, who like believes enough to do a self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know, because the scaredy cat, offering him. Oh, okay, that sounds weird. The scaredy cat committing suicide because he was that terrified and he didn't want to experience it again.
Is believable.
It felt more in line than reworking it to where he killed himself because he was scared, but he also saw it as a self-sacrifice for the team kind of thing.
Yeah, because Stan, literally the entire first movie, he never believes in Pennywise until the very end where he has to go fight Pennywise. So it's like, why do you're not even getting all your memories back. You barely remember, because even with the movie, when they didn't even remember who Pennywise was until they got to the Chinese restaurant. So it's like, if you barely remembered Pennywise, then it doesn't, the two things don't add up. It's like saying 1 + 1 is 2.5. You're kind of correct, but you're not all the way there. But that's all I got for this movie. Any final thoughts, guys?
So they halfway leaned into the crazy zombies driving around the Killer Man and kind of some like weird Stephen King-esque stuff from the book that they didn't put into the first movie. They leaned into it more in this one, but then when it came to the cosmic origin, they only went halfway with it and then backed out of the full explanation. And I thought it would have been better if either they leaned fully into all of the wackiness in the adult half, or just cut it all out like they did with the first movie, because it felt weird that they were leaning halfway into the weirdness, but then trying to backstep some of it.
I agree with that. I feel like if you're gonna do something, when it comes to a movie or anything really, but especially movies, if you're basing a movie off of some source material and you're gonna go halves on like the origin of it, you gotta go hard or go home. Because that's when once you go midway, your movie officially sucks. Because people never like, just speaking from movie experience, people never like it when you like take parts of an origin and then like mix it up. That's why gosh, what am I thinking? That's why like DC movies don't do so well. It's because they typically go halfway and then put a lot of their own thought into it. Which personally I don't always have a problem with, but it doesn't work because it's not what the fans want. They want you to go big or go home. Go big, go home. That's why Marvel does well, is because they keep the origin story, they just flavor it a bit. They go big and they go home. And they bring in the money. That's why they're kind of ruling the world right now. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother video.
Don't make them else mad. That's all I'm saying.
Alright, well, I think we're hitting time, so thank you for joining us this week, and I don't know what we're gonna watch next week, guys, but we'll find out. We'll be back next week.